I'm interested in this idea of writing sort of across platforms, as we're calling it, or writing in different genres. I'll just tell you briefly about an interesting experience I had this year. Obviously, I'm known mostly for comedy writing and for riff tracks and Mystery Science Theater, and I started as a playwright. This year I had, in the last couple of years, I had this interesting experience of being hired as a librettist for actual serious composers to do kind of serious projects. This last year, there was the 5th anniversary of the bridge collapsing in Minneapolis, and for some reason this arts organization decided I was the man for the job to write a libretto which would be done by a serious composer, and I said, why me? Sort of, you know, a combination of being flattered and feeling a little burdened with the responsibility because it was a memorial for the victims. And the guy who was the producer basically said, well, we kind of want someone who might be able to ride that line between tragedy and maybe give it a light touch, or, you know, he was familiar with my work in the theater too, but and it was awesome and daunting and scary and fun. It was like the best thing I feel like I've done in a long time in my own way, because it was challenging. Not that I am denigrating my other work, but it just felt like, boy, that muscle has just been stretched, and I love that. And I'm wondering if anybody else has had that feeling of being out of their comfort zone and eventually just coming around to feeling really energized by it. And I don't think I should probably go one by one and just let anybody pipe in as they will.
I do a lot of stuff in a lot of different genres, right? I mean, I worked on a TV show for a while. I'm working on a video game right now. I have a couple other projects that I can't tell people about yet.
Excuse me, this is John Scalzi talking.
John Scalzi talking. And I kind of have the opposite reaction to you, where you were asking, like, why should I do this? It's like, do you want it? I get people coming up to me, it's like, would you like to do this absolutely crazy thing that we'll pay you money for? And I'm always, yes. Because the idea is not so much to take advantage of every opportunity. You do actually have to pay attention to which things are going to be worth your time and which things are not going to be worth your time, and there's a lot of math that goes into that. But more of every opportunity you have as a writer to expand your toolbox is one that is possibly worthwhile. Because I spent those 2 years as a script consultant for Stargate Universe, I now know how to write a script. I went to you know, film and TV school for 2 years and got paid for it, which was amazing. Working on the video game that I'm working on now, I've learned all about the video game writing process. Everything that you do is an opportunity. I kind of like, yes, let's absolutely cannonball into this. And it may work and it may not, and I may hate everybody and wish to kill them all in horrible ways, or, you know, make lifelong friends. However it works is however it works. But part of the creative process is getting yourself outside of those boundaries.
Absolutely.
I had a really great time working. I've written 2 pilots for animated series.
Joseph Scrimshaw talking.
Joseph Scrimshaw. In one I wrote was an adaptation of somebody else's work. There's a web series called Least I Could Do, or a web comic called Least I Could Do, and they did a Kickstarter and raised a bunch of money to make an animated series, and they were looking around for somebody to write a pilot, so I wrote a pilot based on his strips. So for me that was a fun experience of lots of new things at once, of getting really far away from playwriting so anything could happen, also adapting other people's work. In particular, as a playwright, a lot of time I produce my own work, so as I'm writing, I'm really thinking of the reality of it and the practicality of it. How will I make that work? And I'm not the kind of writer who will write something without figuring out how am I going to make it work, so I don't let writer me screw over producer me. So there were some like beautiful moments in this pilot where I really got to have fun with, I'm going to do whatever I want. And there was a time where I needed a lot of things to come out of a clown's pants.
As you do.
Of course.
And it was just wonderful to be writing for an animated show that I did not have to produce. And I will tell you how many things to draw to come out of that clown's pants, and it's not my problem.
Did you specify what was coming out of the pants?
Oh yes. Yeah, that was
writer power.
That was the longest part of the process.
So to speak.
Make your dirty witticisms into the microphone so they're not lost.
I'm just going to sit here and drink my whiskey drink.
Anyone else? Cross-platform genre challenging experiences?
This is John Roderick talking.
Deep in a well.
I used to be afraid that writing across a lot of different platforms would well, it was all drawing from the same well, and my primary writing is music, and so I would start to write columns or be very invested in what I was doing online and feel like I was maybe squandering my limited amount of writing ability on a thing that wasn't my primary writing. But now my attitude about it is changing, and I'm feeling like the more writing I do, the better, and it doesn't matter where or how. You know, you end up throwing away 80% of what you write, no matter what you do. I'm just, I'm excited to have the opportunity to write prose and write journalism. Those things don't keep me from writing songs. It's masturbating that keeps me from writing songs.
Write about what you love, John Roderick.
To learn to multitask. What? Did I bring up some mental picture that you...
To be fair, one hand is free.
Yeah, John, I've actually designed a one-handed keyboard layout. If you're interested, I can send you this.
I don't use my hands to masturbate.
You have a...
Moderator!
I'm gonna go out for coffee now. John Roderick, prehensile tail.
Will there be a separate panel on this particular
There will be a
topic?
masturbation panel
Along
later.
with sex party? I'll be hosting the sex party
We can cover that later.
panel.
It'll be 3 minutes long.
Trigger warnings. We are... Hi, Nerdist Writers panel. We're talking about jacking off.